Hey Confidants, welcome back to another amazing episode of Tell Fit2 podcast, the space where your voices are heard and your stories matter. I'm your host Faithful and I'm so excited to have you back here with me for another episode. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, I'm so glad you tuned in. I'm really glad you're here with me today. There's something special about sitting down here to record something that's more like a conversation with someone who just gets it. Someone who's willing to sit with you through the laughter, the confusion, and sometimes the quiet moments that hit harder than we expect. But before we continue, I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sending messages. Thank you for leaving reviews and just being here. I want you to know that your support doesn't go unnoticed, and honestly, it keeps me going. You see, every time I think someone is out there tuning in, it really makes the space alive, real, and meaningful to me. Now, today's episode is one of those that makes you stop for a moment and really think about relationships. It's one of those that makes you think about connections and the invisible ways we sometimes hurt the people we care about without even realizing it. So, I want you to get comfortable and settle in because today's episode is one of a kind. So, here goes. I'm dating someone who always claimed he valued communication, but anytime I tried to talk about my feelings, he would tell me I was overthinking. So I started keeping quiet. I swallowed things. But one day, the silence became too loud and I told him I was tired of feeling alone in a relationship. He didn't argue. He just said, I didn't know I was losing you. I wasn't ignoring your feelings. I just didn't grow up in a home where emotions were discussed. I didn't know how to respond. And that changed everything. Now, we ask each other every week, what do you need from me? That simple question has completely changed the way we connect and communicate. Just wow. As I sit here thinking about this person's story, I keep replaying one thing in my mind. That moment where she finally said, I didn't think you'd hear me. That moment where her voice was shaking, not because she was angry, but because she was tired. Tired of holding everything in. Tired of pretending she was fine. Tired of shrinking her emotions just to keep a relationship steady. And the truth is, I think a lot of us know that feeling. A lot of us know that quiet heaviness, that ache of loving someone but feeling unseen. And what hits me most about her story is that she didn't explode. No, she didn't lash out, unlike many of us would have. She simply reached her limit. And you see, reaching your limit doesn't make you weak. Because you see, trying to hold a relationship together all by yourself, it will drain even the strongest heart. But what makes her story so powerful, it isn't the pain, it's the clarity. It's that moment where she finally said, I can't do this unless I feel heard. And hearing him respond, I didn't know I was losing you. That's something that can shake a person awake. You see, that line alone, it carries a whole world inside it. Because sometimes, honestly, people aren't ignoring you. They genuinely don't see what's happening. And it's not because they don't care, but because they were never taught how to pay attention emotionally. It's because they grew up in homes where love was duty, not expression. They grew up in homes where feelings were brushed aside. They grew up in homes where Survival came before softness. And so, when you bring your vulnerability to them, it doesn't fit into the emotional language you know. But here's the beautiful thing. You see, awareness, it changes people. It doesn't fix everything overnight, but it opens a door. And in their case, it opened the door for a different kind of love. It opened the door for a love where listening matters as much as loving. A love where one's presence matters as much as promises. And honestly, listening to this person's story, it made me think about how many relationships fall apart quietly. And sometimes it's not because people stop loving each other, but because they stop communication. Because they stop communicating. And distance doesn't always show up as shouting or conflict. Sometimes it shows up as silence, assumptions, and sometimes emotional autopilot. Sometimes it's two people drifting without even noticing until someone finally says, I feel alone. And I want to speak to you, the person listening right now. If you've been feeling unheard, if your emotions have been pushed aside, if you've been told, oh, you're overthinking, I hope this story reminds you that your feelings are valid. You're not dramatic. No, you're not too much. You're not asking for the impossible. You just want to feel understood. And that's one of the most human desires in the world. And if you're someone who struggles to express emotions, there's no shame in that. You can learn, you can grow, you can unlearn the silence you were raised in. You see, relationships are classrooms. They teach us who we are, what we fear, and what we need to work on. So this person's story is a reminder that love is not just about connection. It's about effort, it's about intention, it's about listening and choosing to meet your partner in the middle. It's about being willing to learn the language of someone else's heart, even when it feels unfamiliar. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this today, it's that loving someone is beautiful, but hearing them is powerful. One keeps the relationship alive, and the other, it keeps the relationship healthy. Sometimes the most healing thing two people can do is simply stop, breathe, and say, please help me understand you. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for sitting with me through the story. And I hope something in here touched you. I hope something in the story reassured you or reminded you that you're not alone in whatever you're feeling today. So if today's episode meant something to you, even in a small way, please don't forget to share it with someone who might need it. And please leave a review, leave a comment, send a message. You have no idea how much your words encourage me to keep doing this. So this has been TLV2 Podcast, and it's your favorite host, Faithful, signing off.
You've just listened to Tell Faithful Podcast, the space where your voice is heard and your story matters. Don't keep this to yourself. Share it, subscribe, and invite someone into our Confidant family. New episodes drop every Wednesday at 10 a.m. West African time, 5 a.m. Eastern time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to your favorite tunes from. Until next time, keep shining and keep telling your story. This is Tell Faithful Podcast, where your voices are heard and your stories matter.